Hey, what's going on, everybody? And thanks for joining us again. We are live. Welcome back to the Rethink Tank Live, where the stories behind the headlines are usually bigger, stranger, and a lot more important than they first appear. Tonight, we're covering three topics that all hit one thing: who controls the future and who deals with the consequences. First, what's being called a silent war between rural communities and data centers as tech giants expand the infrastructure powering AI and the internet, while entire towns are pushing back over land use, energy consumption, and what it means to live next door to the backbone of the digital world. Then, the chocolate industry is facing a major shift as companies move toward fully synthetic chocolate. Not a substitute, not an alternative, but lab-created chocolate designed to replace the real thing as supply chains tighten. And finally, a story that 20 years ago would sound unbelievable, but today is just another Tuesday. A Florida hospital is now suing to evict a patient who has refused to leave for 5 months after being medically discharged. Where does medical care end and legal responsibility begin? We're talking infrastructure, innovation, and institutional limits. This is the Rethink Tank Live, so let's dive right in. Now, for the folks that have watched the show before, you know, before we get into the main topics of the day, if we have the opportunity where there are updates, we like to give them. Last week was quite a big episode. We covered the full ins and outs of this hearing or lawsuit with Afro Man and the Adams County PD, who feel hurt. They're not literally, not in any way physically, just emotionally distressed from a rapper using video footage of his own living room, laughing at their expense. Don't forget, they wrote the jokes that we're all laughing at. Well, I have good news for you, because there is no greater American patriot in 2026 than Afro Man himself. This is the legend of America. Take a look at what a true patriot looks like. Somebody that will live and die for you, your rights, and an American community.
He's fight.
Exactly.
Fight.
And he came out ahead. So before we, we're going to unveil the results and the verdict of that case. But first, there is one last final highlight that we really didn't cover in the last episode. One last clip that I think highlights, one, the satirical nature of this whole hearing, but also the fun that it brought us. Here is Afro Man's defense attorney making, one of his final, what I would make or claim is a strong final point to the jury.
Closing argument.
Oh, yeah, closing argument.
I love picking on Joe.
But it wasn't his closing argument.
Look at that suit. Does this look like a man who thinks that everybody's going to assume that everything he's saying is fact? I mean, he's like a comedian. He exaggerates for the sake of entertainment. That's who he is.
That's who he is.
I'm not going to say it's tasteful to everyone, but some people do find it entertaining.
His attorney looks like Ulysses S. Grant.
I said, do you believe everything in the newspaper? No. Do you believe everything you read on the internet? No. We all know that to be true. A reasonable person knows that. People can post opinions, social commentary, and hurtful things all over the internet. And it is just to be expected. That's why we are supposed to use our own filter, use our common sense, use our experiences in life. So while hurtful, it was not fact. It was music, entertainment. Stuff that no reasonable person would understand.
Here we go.
Especially not a public official, because we see it on TV all the time. We see it on the internet. You see it on Facebook. Sometimes people want to turn off Facebook because there's so much political commentary and stuff. But that's expected. Do I expect everything I read is fact? I don't even think most of it's fact. I think it's everybody's opinion, and opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one, and it stinks. But that doesn't mean they can't have them. That doesn't mean they can't express them, and that doesn't mean they can't make a song about it.
I love that.
I think we missed it. We may have talked over it. He makes one point where he goes, when Lil Wayne said that her pee was the size of the Grand Canyon, did anybody really believe her legs were the size of the And I'm like, the fact that it's even being presented in a court, like, this is serious. I mean, that guy caught a check pushing that argument. And so one thing that I do want to
pushing that pee,
pee the size of the Grand Canyon. Sanctions. Anyway, I do want to address one thing before we get to the judge delivering the verdict here. I want to give one little explanation because the internet was getting hot over this jury instruction. And while it may belittle a major feeling that comes from, you know, your evaluation of the case, the fact that this warrant came up unfruitful, the people are very upset about this jury instruction, thinking that it's manipulating the jury, a jury that still came out with the right verdict. But I do want to address that just to give a little, you know, education, a little background.
I'm just going to start calling witnesses, but I'm going to tell you what this case is not.
this dude heard Lil Wayne and was like,
Okay?
what?
This case is not going to be an analysis of why the magistrate issued a search warrant, or what the facts were leading to the search warrant, or the backstory of the warrant. That's the subject for criminal cases. So the fact that there's a search warrant is what this case is about, not the backstory of it. You hear people talk about criticism of the why and the whole deal. That's not relevant testimony. We're living with, there was a search warrant, nothing backstory. This case is not about excessive force in entering. The court's already determined as a matter of law that it was not excessive. You'll see testimony of damage, but that's a legal standard about whether it's more than customary or expected in the realm of a search warrant.
So I don't, you know, we're about halfway through the clip. I don't want to bore everybody. So the whole purpose of this type of explanation is because, one, if Afro Man wanted to seek any sort of restitution or claim based on the fact that this warrant was unprecedented or, you know, an abuse of force, he would have to seek that out himself. Right now, he is a defendant, so he would either need to do a counterclaim, a cross-claim, or file on his own claim against the judicial officers or the police department that executed it. But the judge is only trying to refocus the jury into the fact that we are only here debating whether or not Afro Man's use of the First Amendment, satirical speech, the footage of his own living room, and discussing the real names and faces of the officers involved, if that is abusive, excessive, harmful, damageable. This is a civil action. So Afro Man, being the defendant, is only defending himself against that claim. So we can't get lost in the weeds of whether or not that, you know, it's an emotional you get pulled into emotionally being compelled by the fact that there was a warrant that busted into this guy's house that found literally nothing. Well, it's its own claim, and they're trying to isolate that, which is why last week my major focus was Pablo Escobar in Miami with a table made of cocaine. You're totally right. He is a convict. You busted in with a righteous warrant. You found you scratched it. You were like, oh my God, snow. And you arrested Pablo right there on the spot. 15 years later, Pablo still has the rights to the video footage of his living room. Yeah. He paid his dues. So that's where, you know, the legal experts force the jury and the dialogue to then just redirect its considerations. The judge isn't wrong for giving this instruction. However, we need to refocus to what is actually in the complaint. So fine, concede that point. We won't even. We'll emotionally play with it. So you could strike it from the. There was this lady that my sister sent me this clip, and she's like, "You can strike it from the record, but I ain't striking it from my brain." And it's like, yeah, that's how that shit works. So yeah, they'll float out the reality that warrant was totally false. The judge goes, "Strike that," and then the jury's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna pretend I forgot that." So
That's a bar. Literally.
So now let's get to the exciting part.
Yeah.
Judge, do what we're here for.
Here. Looks like a skinny Colonel Sanders.
With regard to decorum,
Free chicken.
I don't expect any response.
Free
from
Empire.
anybody. It's been an emotional case. It's been a well-tried case. The lawyer-
Well, hold on, catch this. He's like, this is emotional. He's already prison. He's like, this is gonna get some responses. People are gonna cheer. People are gonna cry. Take it outside.
With regard to decorum, I don't expect any responses from anybody. It's been an emotional case. It's been a well-tried case.
This
The
dude's
lawyers
like, I
did what they
cannot
should
believe
do,
I had to
parties
do
what they
this.
should do. I just want to remind everybody that how the verdict comes out isn't something of public comment. So if you have an emotional attachment to the verdict, don't express it. Wait till you get out of the building before you
Get out of the
get your
building.
emotions out. So the verdict forms are properly executed, properly completed. Copies will be made available to the parties. In all circumstances, the jury finds in favor of the defendant. No plaintiff verdict prevailed. So
Whoop, whoop,
the-
whoop, whoop. Okay, now everybody calm down. Calm down. Don't get rowdy in the courtroom. Take it outside.
Yeah! We did it, America! Yeah! We did it! Freedom of
For America! For America! Yeah, Ricky.
Yeah!
So he had some choice words outside the courthouse. Give this American philosopher the microphone, please.
Break into my house, make a mistake, and then sue me because as an American, all right, American, I use my freedom of speech, and I talk about how you wasn't supposed to be in my house in the first place.
Ba-boom, boom.
I know we're not gonna have this topic again, so let me just, bro, the whole trial of these sideburns right here has been killing me, bro. The whole time.
Are they sideburns or like side underburns? They're
I
like,
don't know. They've been killing me the whole time, and I know we ain't gonna hit this topic again, so I'm like, let me just say my piece.
please.
It's crazy. And then yeah.
No, and then what?
I'm just saying how it's rolled under his neck with his double chin.
Right,
You don't know
look
if it connects under or it just stops right there. Like it's a
I
certain
think it
point.
goes down and
I think
then
it
to
goes
his
down,
chest.
yeah.
It's just
Oh
one
my-
big.
There's a
One
certain
big
point where you
nucleus.
just
One big
get
chain.
rid of those. 'Cause you still got the afro. You don't need the sideburns anymore. Just get rid of the sideburns and keep the afro. You know,
No,
the afro
what it
still
is
popping.
the afro got so large you couldn't see the sideburns, so they just had to keep creeping out of the afro. You got to know we're here. We're trying.
I didn't go down here and sue the police department. I fixed up the damages they made, and I sung songs about them to raise money to do it. They were unapologetic, and I did it the most peaceful, positive way I thought I could.
Seriously,
I think I
though.
was a sport.
Honestly, his decorum was perfect and immaculate, and it was even better after he won.
Yeah, and especially in a way that, like, this would upset most people. And instead, he killed it. Kept his cool.
Bad things happen. You do your best and make it good. When life give you lemons, you make lemon
I
pound
can't
cake.
stop noticing the
No,
sideburns
I'm
now, though.
here. I'm home. If I go to a different area, I got to deal with a different police department, kicking down my door,
Logic.
disconnecting my cameras and stealing my
Dude, he's
money.
about to go on a
So,
world
my
tour.
battle is won here. I think I'm gonna lay my head.
Where'd you get the suit from? I gotta ask.
It's custom made. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, is it?
American dream. You know what I'm saying? I believe in the rags to riches story. I believe in the Cinderella story.
He really is. Like, this is the story of the American dream.
Oh, yes, it is. Yeah.
Just a guy who made it in Ohio.
This is what you want to hear about. This is what you want the justice system to actually be.
Yes.
Like,
I mean,
this
And
is
the
a
one-
feel-good story.
And what makes it better is just the one tear running down in one eye. Like That
Well,
word.
it is sweat, by the way. I almost made the
Oh, that's
comment
not
earlier.
fair.
Bro, he's been hyped. We are hyped outside the courthouse.
And you said it last week. The best thing about this suit is the pocket square on the back.
I believe in the American dream. Yeah, this suit stands for the freedom of speech and the American dream.
Suit stands for the freedom of speech. It's quite literally a great line.
And so true. The man is more loved and revered now than before he was talking about blind people in fish markets.
Literally all of Adams County is hugging him.
Yes. All of America.
Yeah.
That's what's awesome is Adams County, Ohio, America.
Yeah.
All behind this man.
And it happened to be Afro Man of all people.
Straight up. Well, can we agree this is the most reaching across both aisles we've seen in the political dialogue in easily a decade?
This is easily the opposite of the OJ verdict.
This is, yeah, right. Yes, literally. A verdict we all were cheering against the system. See, again, the people versus, we're going to get to the data centers, but it's really just the people versus them.
Yeah,
This,
the ominous they.
the government, the ominous they, and Afro Man brought it to him.
Afro Man in that suit.
in this suit. You know, let's go to Moist Critical because he kind of summarizes the whole thing perfectly.
Amen. I think that about sums it up. He has the freedom of speech to make fun of these officers. They are public officials. They went onto his property, breaking his shit, apparently even disconnected some of the security cameras, which I feel like that should be completely illegal to
Seriously?
lawfully put up security cameras around one's own home. I think, and it seems court agrees, he was well within his rights to be making fun of these officers and using the footage of that raid in the subject of his songs, making fun of them, joking around, whatever he was doing with that music, using them. There should have never been a defamation case that went this far in the first place, but the fact that it did was a fucking slam dunk for comedy. So let's dive into some of the highlight moments here from the court.
It really was a slam dunk, but like everything, Moist Critical there was saying, they shouldn't have been able to go forward with this type. Anybody could sue anybody. Can they win? And clearly they can't, especially when Afro Man gets to go, no. Give me a jury of my people.
Yeah.
And very quickly the system's humbled. But like all sore losers, or just losers in general, they can't just roll over and take it. But so I guess more than anything, this isn't the end of the story.
If you thought that the Afro Band saga was over, you would be wrong, because this email was sent out yesterday, Thursday, March 19th, by the
Just hold
Plaintiffs'
the L.
Counsel, which was Robert
For God's
Klinger,
sakes, just
and
hold the
here
L and
is
walk
what
away.
it says. So let's go through it. I am requesting a copy of the jury selection questions and answers in the above referenced case from the morning of March 16th, 2026. I am requesting an expedite production of this recording/video, so please let me know when it is available. If there is any way it can be delivered electronically via an email link to the file, I would prefer that. Otherwise, please let me know if it might be available to pick up physically. Please let me know if you require advance payment and if there's any other information that you need. Thank you. So here is what's happening. The plaintiffs are appealing.
Yeah, I don't need her explanation. I'll tell you. The plaintiffs are appealing. No. So they've asked for the jury instructions. They've asked for the list of jurors. They're going to deeply harass the situation further to try to make a claim that, how do you find a loophole in jury instructions that couldn't have been more leaned in your favor? Seriously. And more than anything, it's just going to prolong the situation that the dude only has to make another song and he'll make tenfold enough legal fees to bury you and pay for a whole nother tour.
My question is these lawyers doing it pro bono, or are they paying out of pocket for these lawyers?
Oh, they're getting paid. Trust me, Afro Man's paying those guys something. So
no, not Afro Man's lawyer, the cops.
Oh, the cops, they all band together because it's a cost benefit analysis. If I could get my free payday from the rapper, I can only pay maybe whatever, couple $1,000s in hopes of getting 2-3 times my salary. I'm glad they got caught holding the L on that one.
Okay.
But yeah,
I can't see them getting a W in the near future either.
well, even if an appellate court opens it up, there is nothing appellate court can do but change a jury instruction or an interpretation of the case facts for it to go back to that same court to be retried. So we're just going back to Adams County to pull a whole new jury of Afro Man's peers, and we're going to think it's going to play out different. It ain't happening. Why? Because this is the public. The public takes on this opinion. Everybody is buying their lemon pound cake.
Who woke up Froggy Bear this early in the morning? Don't play with my emotions, Smokey. I got the munchies because I got hungry. What's going on? Mama's Cafe in Winchester. Oh my goodness. What does Froggy Bear smell?
Oh my God, it's named after him. Bro, there's no way they could try him again.
Don't give Officer Poundcake the address to Mama's Coffee in Winchester, Ohio. He will throw a raid. Yeah, Randy, everybody's coming.
Randy ain't stand a chance. There's only one way to truly enjoy Mama's lemon pound cake. Will, did you want any lemon pound cake?
Nice. Okay, please don't hurt.
Got grandma's pound cake. You know, it tastes even better in the uniform. I get it. I get why a raid, when they're doing a raid, they give it the eyes.
Pretty good.
Lemon pound cake. Do I sound like I'm Ricky?
You close.
The thing, you know, I think Afro Man's onto something. There's a craze that's going to be going across the country. Nobody's going to be able to hold on to their lemon pound cakes anymore because, again, another trend set.
I'm just going to chip away.
Ricky, like you said, we're not going to be able to probably touch this topic again, maybe until appeal. So any wrapping thoughts or considerations on our main man, the only American patriot left, Afro Man?
No, it's a good win for Afro Man. It showed this is a good precedent, they would say, for anybody like cops that want to sue over opinions.
Well, filming them doing their job inappropriately or appropriately.
So this is good shit for all cops to see. Like, you chose this job, you're in this field, like you're public official, or not official, but public. I want to say servant. There's another word.
Yeah, but they are public servant.
This is a better word.
Mr. Lawman Alex isn't. Oh, wrong one. Isn't Ohio
You was blacker than me, Doug.
one party state? Isn't Ohio one party state? Like, you can just record. It doesn't matter. If you don't need two parties.
Wait, but hold on. That's where you know these First Amendment auditors are so important, because the misconception of a two-party, one-party state, that only applies in private. So if I'm recording you in a private space, I would need one person's permission. But if it's in public, there's no expectation of privacy, which means you don't need anybody's permission. You can just record. So this is where I look at like you were saying, they're public servants. They should kind of anticipate this without exhausting the dialogue of being in public versus not. There's no expectation of privacy when you're in public. There's surely no expectation of privacy when you're in my living room, bruh. What are we talking about? This isn't even the public square. Do you know what I do on that couch? No one's supposed to know what I do on that couch. But here we are, and I got a camera.
I know,
like Diddy.
I know what you do on that couch. Pound cake.
Pound cake.
That'll be my
You're right. You know, maybe I'll keep the aviators on for our last little update here, because it sounds it's appropriate when we're going. You know, I'm going to try to evade this topic because it's going to plague us. When you're experiencing the onslaught of World War III, you really don't want to let it consume the moment. Just kind of touch upon it and move on because that's just the everything now. But we talked about the Iran things in the past, and we're just going to touch one little bit. Our Secretary of War, these are his words, and I'm telling you, the irony does not fall short on anyone. See if you can catch it as he talks about this important growing tensions in the Middle East.
Iran's an energy-rich country, could be, should be. Instead, like so many other places driven by a radical ideology, they've spent that money instead of investing in their people. And that's why you had millions of Iranians protesting. It's because they felt like their quality of life didn't match what it could be or should be. And what was the Iranian state? There's a reason we call Iran the #1 state sponsor of terrorism, because they took the money they make and they invest it in tunnels, and they invested in missiles, and they invested in launchers and UAVs, and we are.
I just love where he's, how do you think they'd feel? How do you think they'd feel? It's like, yeah, that's us right now, brother. It's almost like you're saying it would only make sense. He's comparing the situation, the rebels in Iran, like, why wouldn't they uprise? It's like, who are you talking to, them or us? But,
yes,
that's not even the big one. Did you see the bigger update coming from this week is that Dr. Evil now wants to move into Cuba?
Peter?
When you say Cuba is next.
Cuba. I do believe I'll be having the honor of taking Cuba.
I love how the top of his head is not tan.
Taking Cuba in some form, taking Cuba. I mean, whether I free it, take it, I think I could do anything I want with
Looks
it.
like Scott Evil wearing a bald wig.
Weakened nation right now.
Well, that's actually what Dr. Evil looks like.
Is this in response to Cuba having a blackout, or is this just like in a general?
No, he just was straight up. I'm thinking I'm going to take Cuba, and we'll see what I want to do.
I know that's been on the table.
Peter?
When you say Cuba.
No, he's just. I'm thinking I'm going to take Cuba. It's like, oh, that's just another Tuesday. Dr. Evil. All right, because the doom and gloom doesn't end. Let's have a good time here, right?
Before you get into it, we gotta have a week where it's just happy topics. Where it just like the people that tune in though, they're like, "This is way too happy," and they complain.
Yeah,
like, it's just
like where's the doom and gloom?
Yeah, exactly.
Where's the misery? I signed up for pain and suffering. All right, let's get into our first topic of the day: the silent war, the people versus data centers. I have a mouth of lemon pound cake. All right, let's talk about a conflict most people don't even realize is happening, but it's spreading fast across the country. What's being called a silent war between rural communities and data centers. Because while everyone's talking about AI, streaming, cloud computing, and the future of the internet, very few people are asking, where does all of this actually live? The answer is data centers. Massive warehouse-sized facilities packed with servers that power everything from your email to AI models to financial systems. And right now, tech companies are building them everywhere. We're talking about Northern Virginia, which has become the data center capital of the world. Entire neighborhoods in places like Loudoun County are now surrounded by server farms, and residents are pushing back over constant noise, massive energy use, and the transformation of their communities into industrial zones. In Prince William County, Virginia, locals fought a controversial plan to build a data center complex right next to the historic Manassas battlefield. Residents argued it would damage the character of the area and strain infrastructure, sparking packed town halls and heated political fights. Head out west to Oregon, and you'll find similar tensions. In places like the Dalles, where Google built major data centers, concerns have been raised about water consumption, especially during drought conditions, as these facilities require massive amounts of water for cooling. Same story in Arizona, where data centers tied to companies like Meta have drawn scrutiny for their water usage in already water-stressed regions. Then you've got Texas, where rapid data center expansion has raised alarms about strain on the power grid, especially after the state has already experienced major energy crises. And that's just the U.S. In Ireland, data centers have grown so quickly that they now account for a significant portion of the country's electricity usage, to the point where regulators have warned about the impact on the national grid. In the Netherlands, the government actually stepped in and temporarily paused new data center construction in certain areas because of concerns over land use and energy demand. So what's driving all of this? Simple. Demand. Every AI query, every video stream, every cloud backup, it all runs through these physical machines. And as AI explodes, the need for data centers is growing exponentially. But here's where the tension comes in. To tech companies, these facilities are infrastructure, the backbone of the digital economy. To the people living next to them, they're loud, power-hungry industrial complexes that take up huge amounts of land, consume massive amounts of electricity, use enormous quantities of water, and often bring fewer long-term jobs than traditional developments. That's the disconnect, because the benefits of data centers are global, but the costs are local. You get the convenience of the cloud, but someone else gets the constant hum of cooling systems outside their backyard. Their bills doubling, tripling in cost. You get AI tools and instant access to information, but someone else's power grid is being stretched to support it. And that's why this fight is becoming more visible. Communities are starting to show up at zoning meetings. Local governments are being forced to reconsider permits. In some cases, projects are being delayed, scaled back, or outright rejected. Not because people are against technology, but because they're asking a simple question. Who decides what gets built and who has to live with it? Because this isn't just about data centers. It's about the physical cost of a digital world and the reality that the internet isn't floating in the cloud. It's sitting on someone's land, drawing from someone's resources, and reshaping someone's community. And that's the silent war. No headlines, no front lines, just a growing collision between the future of technology and the people living right next to it. And, we talked about Texas, Oregon, Virginia, all over the country. This one hits home closer to Ohio. First, take just a look at this image. I mean, right now, Virginia is the data center capital of the world. The future plans is to take over all the cornfields in Ohio and switch them into taking on that territory, being one of the data center capitals of the world. Here is Columbus, just about 30 years ago, 40 years ago.
Nice.
In not even half a century, look what we were able to do for the sake of data centers. Completely eradicated. And this is just the beginning, right? Yeah. So where farmers are under attack, like Sean Ryan, I saw a podcast this week, he had a farmer on, and we have American farmers that are stressing their system or straining their system because they have to use old equipment, or else to update and get the newest equipment, it has to be through oligarchs like Monsanto and huge farming equipment industry like controllers. So you can't just go to a mom and pop shop that makes the tractor that you need. You have to go through these avenues to get, FDA approved and all the other BS, the red tape creates monopolies with.
Capitalism at its finest.
Exactly. So now their farmers are straining themselves by trying to keep their farms alive with old, dilapidated equipment because they don't want to be forced into these oligarchs. On top of that, over 100,000 farms have closed just in the last year and a half. And that's, again, directly drawn to the restraints we're putting on the agricultural industry. There was another story I saw that folks, they can't gauge how much they're selling their products for. So the feed price is fixed by the system, and what you could sell your milk, butter, or meat for is also fixed by the system. So 8 months out of the year, they're actually operating at a deficit where the grain to feed the cows is more expensive than what they're allowed to sell the milk for or the meat. What's up, Doug?
Well, like off the farm side, even too, like we've talked about this too, where in order to feed power to these data centers, 3 Mile Island has been bought by Microsoft and they're reactivating it in order to solely power their data centers.
Really?
Not us.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, not us, not our communities.
That's what I was gonna ask. Like,
yeah, what's that?
when are they gonna start taking over country instead of oil, but just for the land for data centers?
You're seeing it. How about this? How about this? Do you know one of the largest real estate owners in the country is McDonald's? I am willing to bet you, as the public becomes more and more aware of goy slop and the poison we're allowing them to, hinder us with, McDonald's is eventually going to crash. And I wouldn't be surprised, instead of audibling their menu, they just wreck the franchises and turn them into data centers. Yeah, Doug.
So we talk about land for data centers, though. One thing Microsoft did do is they have been studying putting data centers underwater, because then you don't need as much like cooling and power and all that. It's naturally cool down there, and you just attach it to all the undersea water cables.
Wow.
So they had been doing that and practicing that for a while, and that's probably because they realized you're running out of that space for these data centers. So they've been doing that. I did see that before.
That's fascinating.
The other thing about water is, like, they're taking water from, I've seen this in Florida. They're taking water from places there's shortage of water, and it's not like the water goes back into the reservoir or anything like filters, right? When it goes in there, it evaporates, so it never comes back.
Yep.
So it's like,
so it's just gonna rain like 50 miles east is just cooked.
And it goes back to your topic that you had a couple weeks ago, like a month ago, cloud seeding with that smart kid. So if you put that together, and they, they're gonna have all this is like connecting, and I bet it's the same companies that has stake in every little pot.
You think
that would be funny if the data centers are also the cloud seeders? They're just,
it's just ran by the guy with the mullet.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Doug, it's interesting you raise that, because real estate is going to be an interesting consideration. You've only got so much land, and then
your cost of, like, you have to cool these data
I was about to
centers,
say, and then it's also twofold, because then you're also addressing the cooling situation without having to worry about piping it, getting like, a pipeline of water or however, but then also maintaining it, all that.
You're tapping it right into the system too in those underwater cables.
Right. But it is funny, like, this is the oxymoron that the industry has evolved into. Bill Gates himself has completely abandoned the environmentalism approach and goal, because he sees there's significantly more value in the technocracy that's coming on its way, and instead screw the environment. I'd much rather control and own the people. So he completely abandoned environmentalism, because look at the cost of environmentalism is the technocracy.
A good guy.
What a good guy.
Good man.
You should get a vaccine from him.
You should get corn from him.
Speaking of good guys in tech, let me take a moment. There's a new Fortnite season. I gotta say, the last 2 seasons have been pretty.
They've been bad.
They've been dookie.
They've been really bad.
This current season, I'm like a week into it. It's awesome.
Oh, is it?
It's so awesome. And
is Ice Spice back?
No, I'm the Ice Spice in the game. But the new season's super great. So definitely a big fan. But I bring it up because there's very few honorable people in the tech industry, and those that are influencing the direction of our future. Here's the owner that built Fortnite. He is quietly buying up America's forests and refusing to let anyone touch them.
We think it's admirable, but in reality, he's just trying to make real life Fortnite.
Yeah, probably.
We're about to praise this man, and in 20 years, they're going to be like, he's just killing people.
Yes.
He's just dropping them in.
Deadliest game.
So Akash Gupta is someone that worked with the owner of Epic Games, or the guy that created Fortnite.
Huge dub.
Huge dub. And here's his testimony. I worked at Epic Games for 2 years. This is real. And the strategy behind it is smarter than most people realize. Tim Sweeney has spent nearly 2 decades buying North Carolina forest land, 50,000 plus acres across 15 countries. He's now one of the largest private landowners in the state. The purchases started in 2008, right after the real estate collapse wiped out developers who had been planning golf resorts and luxury communities on biodiverse wildernesses. Sweeney paid $15 million for Box Creek Wilderness, a 7,000-acre stretch in the Blue Ridge foothills containing 130 plus rare and threatened species. Developers had owned 5,000 of those acres before the crash. He bought them for conservation prices when nobody else was bidding. He runs the acquisition through an LLC called 130 of Chatham. He buys the land, holds it for years, then either donates it to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, sells it at a discount to state parks, or hands it to land trusts. In 2021, he donated 7,500 acres in the Roan Highlands to the Southern Appalachian Highlands Conservancy, largest private land donation in North Carolina history. I mean, get rid of Ricky.
Where'd you go, Rick?
Where'd you go, Ricky?
R.I.P. Cowboy Carter.
Cowboy Carter. A billionaire worth roughly $60 billion is spending tens of millions acquiring wilderness specifically during economic downturns, then giving it away or placing it under permanent legal protection. The land will outlast him, Epic Games, and Fortnite. That's the part that separates Sweeney from billionaires who write checks to get their name on the building. The building depreciates the forest compounds.
I hear what he's saying, but I disagree. It is not outlasting Fortnite.
Nothing is outlasting Fortnite.
Nothing is outlasting Fortnite.
I could agree.
Yeah, that forest will be turned into a data center, and Fortnite will be on a new season.
Exactly. You know, we thought Elon Musk was buying Twitter for admirable reasons. We got humbled. You know, this guy, he's a billionaire. All he wants to do is go to space. No, he doesn't. Like,
what happened to that?
He's still. Oh, what are you talking about? They're going to be going to Mars here shortly. Nothing stopped there. They're full speed ahead.
I know. We just haven't heard many stories of rockets lately.
Yeah,
For all mankind.
Exactly. No need to commit to bettering this planet. Just start rebuilding the next, which is probably what happened to Mars 1. They were like, go to Earth. Damn, this is a problem. And they screwed it up again.
They sent over a T-Rex.
So one last, we've got a few considerations for these data centers, but one thing that I find, we got excited about Afroman. That's a true American patriot.
Well, it's a happy story.
It's a happy story, but I don't think anybody takes the cake from my main woman, Ida. Ida Huddleston, I think, is truly what an American hero looks like.
Guys, I don't think chocolate's supposed to look like this.
Nope. That's not Ida. That's earlier. That's coming later.
She's like, I gotta give you a piece of my mind playing that video.
Oh wow, I got him switched.
My way, I'll stay and hold and feed a nation. 26 million doesn't mean anything.
Some people might find it hard to understand how Delcia Bear can turn away at 26.
If it's my way, I'll stay and hold and feed a nation. 26 million doesn't mean anything.
Some people might find it hard to understand how Delcia Bear can turn away a $26 million offer to buy some of her land until you spend a little time with her walking the dirt road she grew up on and in the house her daddy built.
Paid taxes on it, fed a nation off of it, even raised wheat through the Depression and kept the bread lines up in the United States of America.
Delcia is one of dozens of landowners approached by an anonymous buyer, one of the major players in artificial intelligence, likely Google or Meta or Amazon, to purchase their land.
They call us old stupid farmers, but we're not. We know whenever our food is disappearing, our lands are disappearing, and we don't have any water.
Delcia's mom, Ida Huddleston, is now 82 years old, and she certainly does not trust the promises made by the AI companies.
So what do you say to the people who say, hey, this is going to bring economic prosperity?
I say they're a liar and the truth ain't in them. It's a scam.
They're a liar. The truth ain't in them.
I wish when she answered that question, she was like, I'd give you a piece of my mind.
I just love. All right, let's be real. Ida is going to win a word puzzle race, Sudoku race outside of her territory. However, I think it's awesome. When the reason this kind of strikes a chord with me, because even with this show, it's one of those, like, I wouldn't want to sell out. I wouldn't want to have to become something I'm not for the sake of money. And my dad looks at me and he's like, you'll take whatever money you get because you're getting no money. So why would you do something for free and then turn away the money? Because integrity, preserving what it really is. And everybody's got a price tag. What is your price tag? The fact that Ida can sit there and someone can offer her $26 million to be another domino in the degradation of America and just the absolute consumption of the American people and their way. The fact that it doesn't have a $26 million price tag, where most disgusting crooks with money would not bat an eye at taking that payday and further expanding their interests and further damning the people. So it's just interesting to consider, like, Ida's got a price tag. What would it be? At a certain point, though, it also feels like maybe there is no price tag, and that's someone that would die on the hill.
Or she's someone waiting for them to say 35 million.
That's what I mean. It's curious.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder, is that it?
She's super aware of how much her land's actually worth, and she's like, no.
Nah, it's not worth that.
No.
35.
I'm 82. What am I going to do with the money now?
That's what you hope it is.
Yeah,
it's one of those, like, nah, I'm dying with it. And
this isn't a young woman farming anymore. She's like, I made a career out of this. Why would I give up now?
But at the same time, I look at people within our circles of, like, people whose parents had businesses and the boomer kids adopted the business. All of them eventually sold out, except for the Gamleys. Ken Gamley, who took it over. There's also 4 other siblings that bought out. So it's just funny, like, Ida might hold the line, but it's even less likely that the next generation does the same thing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you got to want to do it. You got to want to farm that land. You got to really have it in your DNA.
Which, again, going back to that most recent episode of Sean Ryan's podcast, where this farmer, his dad, grandpa ran it, dad sold it. He went and bought it back, and the developers cleared the whole land for development. So based off of pictures and everything else, they built that thing board by board, and he rebuilt his family's farm. So again, like you said, you got to want it. And it's crazy. Your dad didn't. He took the payday, but you want to live that lifestyle.
Your father
That's rare.
Your father took the payday so you could buy this later.
Yeah, at higher cost.
Yeah.
See, I don't think our buddy who has that family land, like, if it was up to him, I don't think he would sell it. But I would worry about his parents wanting to sell.
Wait. The land is nothing. They're not cultivating on that. They are actually. I will say they do rent out mild
it's worth
farming.
a lot more if they sold it right now than if they kept it. But I think our friend would keep it. I'd worry more about his parents.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I also think he would when push came to shove after enough time. But definitely his parents, because they are the ones that they're selling the business. The land they will keep because they're living on it. But even then, that isn't a business. It's just an interesting concept that, these are the front lines. We're experiencing that first collision between the future of the digital world that wants to consume our current present world. And who would have thought the front lines are salt of the earth Kentuckians like Ida sitting in her living room going, take it from me.
I feel like that's always going to be how it's going to be, though.
I hope so. Yeah.
End up just being salt of the earth people refusing
until the government decides to eminent domain the land.
That's going to happen.
It's either that or, like you said, the next generation just gives it up.
Right.
That's what it's going to be.
Well, and that's the problem. Is there will be the last of the Mohicans.
Right.
Where it'll
the
last of the Idas, where it just slowly, a couple Idas hold out, then even fewer next of kin of Idas hold out, and then even fewer grandkid of Idas hold out, and then just until there's the final Ida,
grandchild of Ida,
and then Trump on his 5th presidency goes, "You're out, Ida," and kicks her.
You're fired.
You're fired.
He needs to bring that back.
No, he doesn't. We could get rid of him. We just get rid of him entirely.
I think NBC owns that probably.
I think you're right. I could guarantee you're right, which is why he hasn't said it in either presidency. I can almost guarantee you, which is weird because how do you stop me from saying a tagline?
To be honest, for the longest time, The Apprentice was gone. After his first presidency, you couldn't watch anywhere. It's back on to stream now.
It's back.
It's back.
It's back.
It's gonna be weird to watch that, realizing
you watch it and you go, "Oh, this was part of the script all the time." Like the whole time, this was all part of the plan. We thought we had autonomy.
It'd be like if Snooki became governor of New Jersey, and you'd be like, "Wow, I saw her get arrested."
No, when you go back and rewatch it, it's very like, "Oh, that was all propaganda." Like they created the president back then. Because this is a nobody that they made out to be. Like nobody as in how many real estate developers are made out to be this royal empire of business. It's just, again, you have a memory of what it is. I went back and rewatched it like a year ago, maybe. You go watch an episode. I tried. I was like, let's see how many episodes, just 2-3 episodes in. You're like, this is so propaganda. Like it is so.
Was it entertaining at least?
It's sure. The guy's one of the greatest entertainers ever. That's what he is, though. But you see, honest to goodness, with the lens and perspective of time, it views totally different.
I might have to go back and rewatch him then.
Yeah,
I've thought about it. I was like, I wonder how weird it is. Like, again, going back and seeing it, and you're like,
every view is money in Trump's pocket. You know, royalty.
I don't
really
think it's like that.
Living that at this point.
Yeah, he's got all the pennies. Yeah, he literally took all the pennies. The penny doesn't exist anymore.
Royalty. I'm keeping him fed.
Yeah, he's a hungry boy.
If that's the case, I'll go back and rewatch Drake and Josh so we can stop singing in Mexico.
Only president to donate his income, though. I'll be honest.
Yeah, let's start clapping.
Hey, I do like that, though. I won't lie.
Sure.
It's
good for you.
Only one not taking our money.
Yeah, and then he uses his insider information to just totally grape us of all our dollars. But
yeah,
I'm glad he donated $200,000.
Oh, yeah, that's why I stopped caring.
Yeah. Did he profit off of every decision he signed into law for the last year and a half? Yeah, I forgot.
What politician doesn't, though? That's the problem.
Yeah, no, not him. He actually ran on not being that. That was actually like the whole premise is that's all of them. I'm not the swamp. Anyway, keeping us back on track.
Happier thoughts.
Speaking of data centers, you know, it is crazy to think my dad's an engineer. He worked with architects, engineering firms. This is what an office looked like back in the day. So prior to AutoCAD being developed in 1982, this is what an engineer firm looked like. Giant rooms full of giant tables, guys on top of each other, laying on desks. I mean, we're talking super, super fine details, all handcrafted, very intentional and detailed. Now, simple prompt into Grok makes what my dad and a fleet of a warehouse of humans did it'd take us 6 months to make the blueprints. Grok, nope, boom. What else you want? You want a swimming pool? I can put that in. You want your swimming pool in your Kraft mac and cheese factory? We could do that. What else do you want? A jacuzzi? A bowling alley? More cheese.
The idea of a pool in a Kraft mac and cheese factory.
Yeah.
You're a genius.
So good. So last little bit that I did want to address. Get this. Do you understand what just happened? A guy in Florida asked ChatGPT to sell his house. Not help him sell it, sell it. Pricing, marketing, showings, contract, everything. Sold in 5 days. The average real estate agent takes 6% commission on a $400,000 house. That's $24,000 for what? Putting it on Zillow and sending you emails? This man paid $20 a month for ChatGPT and did the whole thing from his couch. Real estate agents spent 20 years telling you the process is too complicated for normal people, that you need a professional, that the paperwork is too risky without them. It was gate kept. And a chatbot just kicked the whole gate open. Lawyers are next. Accountants are next. Financial advisors are next. Every profession that made you feel stupid so you'd pay them is about to get the same treatment. The middleman is dying, and it's not dying because AI is smarter than them. It's dying because AI proved you were always smart enough to do it yourself. You just weren't allowed to, or nor did you have the patience to actually get through it. But I just love the delirium of just like, oh, we're here. Real estate AI agents. Here we are. And then the last bit. Oh, this is one. Did you realize after pouring $90 billion into the metaverse, Meta has announced that they're shutting down the V8 VR platform in this June. So it's crazy. That just never took flight. And really, it's because he's like, the headset thing, we never caught up to it. We're going to be plugging in behind your eyes before I could convince everybody to get a headset.
He had something plugged into his eyes. He's like, I was wrong.
No, Alex, the Futurama episode where the iPhone is literally put into your eye is about to come true.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He saw it coming. He's like, I am not even going to try to convince you to wear a headset. I'm going to be plugging in behind your head. All right. And the last part, because I want to bring it to Ohio, rural Ohioans seek data center constitutional amendment. A group of rural Ohioans are pushing to block the construction of data centers larger than 25 megawatts across the state by changing Ohio's constitution. And truthfully, I can only hope that they succeed because you are about to see your energy bills skyrocket.
Well, Alex, that would be put to vote here. If they want to do a constitutional amendment, that would be put into vote, so we'd be voting on that then here. So you'd have your say on that.
Hey, Doug, I don't know if you saw, Ricky's got some comments for you. Doug, you should use ChatGPT to buy your house. But then Randy wouldn't have an excuse to kick it.
I kind of want to give my friend the commission.
Oh my God, if you did that to Randy. Yeah.
Could you imagine?
He's written out of the will.
Yeah, Will.
I forgot about Randy.
There's no will for Randy. If anything, he's in my will. I'm the only one who's prepared for the future.
I just love that Doug is a what's it called? A not a what's your pair? You're what to his kid? No.
Uncle?
No, you're not his uncle. You're not their uncle.
I am their uncle.
No, you're not. What are you?
Uncle.
Godfather?
Godfather. Thank you.
Oh, yes.
Sorry. My head's so far up my ass, it's back on my shoulders.
So I'm godfather to one of his children.
But you're not their uncle.
I am their uncle.
You're an ass. Anyway, so he'll be the godfather of their kids, but I'm gonna write you other way. I'm gonna give the commission to a chatbot.
No, that's the beauty though, is that
or
doesn't take commission.
Exactly.
Hey, you buy your house and just still, fork over that little change to your boy. But hey, here's a Christmas bonus on me. I know I didn't use you, but here's a little thing. You know what I mean?
Little Christmas bonus on me.
You're gonna save that money anyway, so why not just cut your boy off still?
So true.
Something nice.
So true, bestie.
And wait, I have a question.
Yeah, please.
So I got written into stuff to inherit that I'm not. It's in the will that I'm not allowed to sell. Is that like not a thing?
No, it's a thing. That runs with the land.
Yeah, your will is your will, man.
Well, not even the will, but any like surveillance or convenience, any of those types of like constraints follow with the land, and they can be applied by the landowner. So through transfer, they can give it on any condition, and those conditions will run with the land.
Why can't parents? Well, you said they just sell out. Okay, never mind.
It's true. Literally, maybe the grandparents are like, I already know you assholes are going to ruin this for me, so you can't do it, nor can your grandkids.
But if you want your kid to inherit something, you have to raise them from young to like love it. You don't push it on them and things like that. But
again, get them involved. Like,
Hey, David works his family farm.
There you go.
David.
Old David.
What's the show? Severance? No,
yeah.
Not Severance. Succession?
Succession.
Yeah. Prime example.
Make them want it so bad that they'll rip their siblings' eyeballs out.
Except the one wants to be president.
Yeah, there you go. That's a real victory. All right, data centers are coming. The war is upon us, and it's the people versus the machine. Ricky, any rapping thoughts on the topic?
AI is going to hack these people's email, blackmail them so they can pass these data centers so they can take over, get a land, and create the Ultron. I'm telling you, Ultron is coming.
Literally, the AI is going to go, is that kitty corn that is in your photo library? And you're like, no, it is now. All right, I'll sell the
Not
land.
even kitty corn. They might just start like a profile of like a hot chick, texting them on the low and be like, I'm gonna show your wife this. You're gonna lose everything if I show your wife this, you know, like there's so many ways they can blackmail people without it being, you know,
so right.
that way. Like it's
why don't we just give it to them now? See what they could do. Why make them take it? They're gonna get it anyway. Why don't we just give it the machine? Why don't we give Starlink of the Terminator just everything?
You know what?
Why do we have to
mention this? We need an update on
franchise.
Parliament AI. We need an update on the Parliament AI over there in Europe. How's she doing?
Yeah, I'd love to know. After she birthed all of her twins across the Parliament, I would be curious to see.
Yes.
We have the first government run by AI. How's that going? They own all of Eurasia. Oh shit, we shouldn't have turned around.
Nice.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. Maybe I'll have to make that an update for next episode. We got to figure out what's going on with them. Yeah, we did. You know, as AI is taking over everything else.
As fun as Afroman. That one was sad.
And Afroman's totally organic.
Yeah, that's a really
lemon bound cake. Do you have any rapping thoughts before we close it out?
You want me to follow up kitty corn blackmail? No, I think you nailed it.
Oh, thanks for doubling down. Hey, Doug, any rapping thoughts?
No, I think you nailed it. I don't like Will. I can't top it.
Ricky went for the fence on that one. I'm like,
he knocked it out. So when you zoom out from all the individual fights, the town halls in Virginia, the water concerns in Arizona, the power strain in Texas, the national limits in Europe, a very clear pattern starts to emerge. This isn't just about data centers. It's about who absorbs the cost of progress, because the digital world has done a very good job of feeling weightless. Everything is instant. Everything is accessible. Everything feels like it lives in the cloud. But there is no cloud. There are buildings. There are power plants. There are water systems. There are communities. And the more advanced our technology becomes, especially with AI, the more physical infrastructure it requires to sustain it. What we're watching right now is the early stage of negotiation that hasn't been fully defined yet. How much land do we give up? How much energy do we allocate? How much local disruption is acceptable for global convenience? Because the incentives aren't aligned. Tech companies are rewarded for scale and speed. Communities are forced to deal with permanence and impact. And when those two collide, you don't get a clean policy debate. You get resistance, not because people are anti-technology, but because they're starting to realize that the benefits of this system are distributed broadly, while the burdens are concentrated very specifically. And that imbalance doesn't hold forever. At some point, either infrastructure adapts to communities or communities push back hard enough to reshape how that infrastructure gets built. And that's where this is heading. Because the future isn't just going to be decided by what we can build. It's going to be decided by what people are willing to live next to. Okay, speaking of which, you know, with all this pound cake, I got to tell you, it's making me a little bit hungry. So let's get into...
Hey, that was good. I ate my whole slice. It was pretty good. I'm not going to lie. It's the first edible thing.
Now I can understand why Officer Randy's willing to throw it all away for Grandma's pound.
$400.
Whoop, almost made a mess.
Yeah, that would have been clip. No, you're good. You're good. Wow. Clip it.
Needed to clean it. Only the cleanest here.
Yeah, no. That's the first edible thing I've had in like 20.
Is it cake? All right, speaking of things we shouldn't be eating, Oreo, Cadbury, and Toblerone commit to completely synthetic lab-grown chocolate by 2027. All right, buckle up because this story sounds like a mashup of Willy Wonka and corporate cost cutting, except it's 100% real and already underway. Big names in candy aisles like Oreo, Cadbury, and Toblerone have publicly committed to shifting their chocolate products over to an Israeli lab company that produces completely synthetic, lab-grown chocolate by 2027. Not some ingredients grown in a lab, not a recipe tweak, completely synthetic chocolate. Why? Because in the minds of these companies, a lab is cheaper than a farm. Cocoa prices are volatile. Climate change is stressing crops. Supply chains are tenuous. And increasingly, companies see lab cultivation, growing cocoa fats, flavors, and compounds in bioreactors, as a way to stabilize cost and control production without depending on harvests from West Africa farms or tropical climates. The pitch from industry is predictable. Sustainability, environmental responsibility, future food innovation. But let's be honest, when major corporations say the cheaper process also happens to keep profits steadier, you know the motivation ain't just humanitarian. Here's where it gets even weirder. Consumers aren't reacting well. Some early lab-grown chocolate products have already hit the market under smaller brands, and folks describe them as, well, not chocolate. Not the way we grew up knowing chocolate. Not the thing that melts in your mouth when you're 8 years old with a candy bar in your hand.
Some Mallies.
Mallies is far from this dialogue.
Yeah.
Mallies is a true blue.
That's all I can think of.
Come to Ohio. Taste real
Alex
chocolate.
actually buys their chocolates from a factory and just makes it into their own. It's
Not a
even
synthetic
Alex
lab made by the good people. And now this is blown up into a full-on consumer backlash, highlighted by one of the most public lawsuits in the candy aisle in recent memory. I love this one. The Reese family. Yes, the family behind the iconic Reese's peanut butter cups has filed lawsuit against Hershey's, claiming the current product is basically inedible. Their position? The candy sold today under the Reese's name tastes so fake, so artificial, so devoid of authentic chocolate and peanut quality that it isn't even recognizably what made the brand famous. The claim in the lawsuit goes beyond branding. Also, it's a lawsuit filed by the grandson directly of the Reese family. It argues that Hershey's has effectively eroded the quality of the product to the point that it no longer delivers the taste consumers expect, and that the company is misleading the public. Facts? Now, right? Now, Hershey is defending itself by pointing to evolving formulas, rising ingredients costs, and evolving manufacturing processes. But consumers aren't buying it, literally. You gotcha, because there's a broader cultural context here. For generations, chocolate has been a real food, a crop grown on farms, harvested by human hands, and transformed into something sweet and comforting. There's an emotional, almost nostalgic attachment to real cocoa that no lab simulation has really matched yet. Calling your product synthetic chocolate doesn't just change taste buds, it challenges identity. And when big corporations roll out lab-grown versions under the promise of the same taste, cheaper, sustainable, but many people find the result tasting hollow or fake, a backlash is inevitable. So you have two big trends colliding. One, corporate optimization, where profit-maximizing companies see lab growth as a way to cut out agricultural risk, stabilize costs, and future-proof supply chains. Then that goes against the second point, which is consumer expectation, where millions of people still want real taste, real ingredients, real chocolate, not bioreactor versions that taste like a shell of the memory of chocolate. And the Reese lawsuit has become the flashpoint, a symbol of that cultural clash. People aren't just annoyed, they feel betrayed. Because if your favorite candy sprinkle or childhood favorite starts tasting like engineered food chemistry, you don't just reject the flavor, you reject the premise that companies can claim authenticity while delivering something engineered in a lab. And that's why this isn't just a candy story. It's a cultural moment. It's where food technology meets brand loyalty meets nostalgia. And millions of consumers are now asking, if chocolate isn't chocolate anymore, what is it? And who gets to decide? So as we watch Oreo, Cadbury, and the Toblerone march towards synthetic chocolate by 2027, keep an eye on the public reaction. Because if people revolt in the snack aisles the same way they've revolted in beverage aisles, farm-to-table movements, and craft food trends, this shift might not be a smooth march forward. It might be a backlash with a bite. Doug, what do you got for us?
No, I was just to say, like, you're bringing up a good point with the change in the formula and all that and the taste. We were willing to accept shrinkflation to an extent, where a dollar bar used to be this size and now a dollar bar is like
shrinkflation.
Shrinkflation, man. That's what it is. But if you're going to charge us the same price for something that is subpar, we won't take that.
He's got a point.
No, it's a good,
growing trends. I get it. My bag of Doritos is just going to every year get more and more air, less and less chip. But damn it, if I'm going to eat poison, keep it what I know and love.
Oh yeah, don't switch up a good thing.
All right, real quick before we get going any further, Doug, click to yourself. Can you catch?
Alex, you know better than Alex. Come on, Alex.
All right, click the wheel.
Yeah,
it was bad. Click the wheel. All right, let's try. We got these Reese's. Let's Doug, you go first.
That's the
Tell
second
me what
thing.
you think of it. Does it taste like you remember?
Where'd you get these?
That's the second thing, Alex. You
The
didn't tell
store?
me to get Nom left out of the show, bro. This ain't
Where
right.
else do you get Reese's? No.
They don't taste awful. I don't think they taste bad.
Chocolate and peanut butter. It's like crap.
But it's fake chocolate and fake peanut butter.
Eh.
And here's what I'll say.
You.
The
we
taste
just
is
talked
pretty
about
close
this.
to what you remember.
I was going to say pretty close.
So
We
Go
just
ahead,
spoke about
Ricky.
this in the topic before about people selling out and stuff. I'm happy the grandson is suing Hershey for the quality of the
that.
product, and I hope he wins so they can revert from doing this nonsense.
You know, I still hope that Billy Malley's going to buy back his family's company.
hey, there's a dialogue. But Ricky, piggybacking off of what you were saying, there is a very interesting point you got there, which is I want the son to win, but I don't know how much I agree with the legal premise he's coming at it with. Simply because what we just ate, I really don't think is very far off from what we've always remembered a Hershey to be for the last like 5 to 10 years, right?
Right.
I'd say 15 years ago, the chocolate was more real. The peanut butter was more real. It probably did taste different. But this isn't so far away from that it shocks the consciousness of anybody trying it or reading it.
Right.
But what I will say, Ricky, is the ingredients. He should have taken a different angle, which is regardless of taste, the negative medical impact, like the biological impact it has on the consumer. That's the lie. It tastes the same, but you replaced it with a paint chip. Then that's a real problem.
Yeah.
So I wish the virtue of the argument was different, because with success, it would bring about a different change. Because again, when you look at a Hershey bar and this is what you get,
Guys, I don't think chocolate's supposed to look like this.
I think you're right, ma'am.
And that's
Why
how
is it
Reese's
so
tastes.
like elasticy?
I would love to see how durable that is. Just go up to someone and be like, "Oh my
That's how they
Dude,
taste
I'm
to me
sorry.
now.
This is not edible. That is plastic.
You know.
And correct me if I'm wrong. I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts. I literally can't eat Hershey's chocolate anymore.
Not anymore. Nope. Nope.
You taste it, and it literally tastes like plastic.
It feels like plastic.
But the
It
Reese's
feels like
I'm
plastic.
It doesn't even melt. Like the chocolate doesn't melt in your hand if you hold it long enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, and she's proven it.
Oh.
This should be totally melted, and
She should
instead
have
it's
residue on her finger.
yeah, no residue, and it's just a floppy mess. And what Hershey's really up against, you know, every summer I'm reminded why I should never put a penny into Hershey's, and it's you try to have a s'mores party, you know, have a campfire now. It is not exactly like you said, Doug. Can't do it.
You got to go to the Malleys, dude.
Yeah. Okay. Now you've just made your campfire like $200.
Seriously.
Like
Save that
Mally's
penny.
is great. It's stupid expensive.
Save that penny and spend $200.
Trump took it. Remember, you made me give it to him.
Yeah, I don't even have a penny.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even have a penny. We're out of pennies. Give him a nickel now.
Hey, all I know is in 2027, if I'm going to be buying Oreos, I hope it comes with a wall of kiss.
Dude, well, it's gonna.
Nice.
Grown chocolate is coming to shelves in 2027. Oreo, Cadbury, and Toblerone are already funding the Israeli biotech producing it because a lab is cheaper than a farm.
Cadbury has been quietly replacing your chocolate every single year. This dairy milk isn't legal chocolate in 27 countries. The cocoa butter was replaced with vegetable fat, a cheap blend of 6 industrial oils. What remains is diluted with polyglycerol, then flavored with petroleum vanilla to mask the waxy taste. Soon,
Fake chocolate.
even that gets replaced. You'll be eating cells grown in a pharmaceutical tank. Exposure flagged lead and cadmium traces with an
So again, be sure. Do not forget who's doing this. Like, and be conscious of it to avoid those products.
It said it's banned in 27 countries too.
Yeah. So think about
That's
this. Like Oreo, that's another one where, boy, does the chemical compound they made in a lab, does it just trigger the neurons in my brain? It hits. They don't taste bad, but how do you consciously go? Like, we got pressured at work to buy Girl Scout cookies.
Yep.
I'm sitting there like, yeah,
They have
okay.
a new Rocky Road flavor this year too, which was amazing.
Well, I'm sure it did. Of course, that's what I ordered, and I got something totally different. But I wasn't going to say nothing. I was just like,
seriously?
yeah,
What'd you
whatever.
get? What'd you
Yeah,
get?
that's what I ordered, and then I got the peanut butter.
Oh, you missed out.
Whatever. But again, and then I was the bad guy at work when I reminded everybody. I go, yeah, but on the show, literally a year ago, we reported about how they're finding like mass traces of metals in these cookies, and it's just bad for you. And they're like, you know, everybody's giggling like, I got like $5. It's gonna be bad for me, but I love my cookies. And it's like, it's way worse than you think. It ain't just calories to your hips. Like it's affecting your liver.
I love the notion of them all looking at you like, shut up, dork.
Yeah, exactly. As they eat their Samoa, like, shut up, dork. Yeah, exactly. It's an interesting concept. I'm with you, Ricky. I hope they come out successful. What were you gonna say?
Funny thing is, I had people come in last year from Europe and looked at the Toblerone and picked it up, just went straight to the ingredients and was like, oh, no, never mind.
Yeah, because it's totally different where they come from.
Yep.
Same candy bar, totally different recipe. You know what's interesting, Ricky? I was going to bring this up earlier when we were talking about Hershey's. Hershey's is quite literally inedible in Europe. They just can't eat it. They can't, because the chocolate has a chemical in it that is in vomit. And so when a European that didn't grow up on the chocolate, because we're used to it, our brain's wired to taste past the taste of vomit and taste the chemical chocolate. They are like, this is puke. You guys eat puke for fun with marshmallows and crackers? This is what you do. And you're like, get this. We've built an amusement park and an entire city around this fake
Fun
chocolate.
fact, man, Hershey was introduced to Europe by GIs during World War II, back when the chocolate was real chocolate.
And then they took it away. They're like, Americans are doing American things again.
So can I pose a scenario? So if I got on a plane and I went to Europe and I had Hershey's chocolate on me, would they put me on like a no-fly list? Or
No,
something?
I mean, one, you'd have to declare it. They'll be like, are you bringing anything from out of the country? You'll be like, American chocolate. pure chocolate. And then they'll be like,
Wait, you have to
go ahead.
declare that because I did not declare that when I went to Europe.
You should. I would like you feel this is like a confessional, Doug. If there's anything else you'd like to confess to online, live, to be recorded forever, feel free. Anything else?
I didn't have chocolate, but I didn't know you had to declare stuff that specific.
Well,
you know,
TSA has entered the chat. What do you got to say, Doug?
Where were you on the day of January 6th?
Buying chocolate.
Oh my God.
Ricky, coming to you. Any wrapping thoughts? You gonna be eating chocolate?
No, thank God my uncle has a cocoa tree in his backyard, so he makes chocolate back home in Jamaica, so that's good. I don't even like Hershey's. I like M&Ms, but they're all fuck. I'm trying to lay off the sugars anyway because I'm getting old and fuck the sugar.
Has your uncle considered maybe taking up being a Rastafarian Willy Wonka?
Nah,
I mean, that's a whole brand angle no one's taken up yet.
His label is he makes the best fried chicken in St. James and the best jerk chicken. MFC.
What if he covered it in
fried
chocolate?
chicken.
Oh,
He only does chocolate literally for his.
You guys remember
chocolate tea.
Keenan from all that? Just his character, he's like covered in chocolate.
Yeah. But nah, they instead of chocolate, he does tea. So they sell tea and honey.
I like that. Man knows what he's doing. Yeah. All right, so I gotta buy time for Doug. Will, you got any wrapping thoughts?
I'm a consumer. I'm gonna still eat it.
Oh
I'm
God,
disgusting man. I will unashamedly be buying Oreos next year and be like, oh yeah, didn't we do a topic about this? Give me the double stuff. Like I am no better than
you're an American consumer.
I'm proud.
That's right.
Proud.
That's right.
Well, at 42, proud.
Proud. Doug, any thoughts? Any wrapping considerations?
I mean, this is why I haven't bought Hershey's in the longest time. I mean, to be honest, I'd never buy Hershey's. I will buy anything else other than Hershey's at this point is because their chocolate is not what it used to be.
It doesn't need Oreos.
He's right. Yeah, I'm with him.
No, Oreos I consider one thing, but I'm talking
Oreos
about
I'll do.
I'm talking about true Hershey's chocolate. It's not what it used to be.
You're going to buy Toblerone or...
I've never had Toblerone in my life.
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah. Right?
Honestly, what is Toblerone?
It's like a
I will send y'all some Toblerone. They're so fucking
like a
good,
I
bro.
was saying that the whole time. I was like, that's not real.
No, it's
You've
like
never
yeah,
seen
it's
this?
real.
This is Swiss chocolate. It's incredibly good.
No.
It's got like toffee in it. But again, you don't buy it here in America. You want to go buy it like at a duty free outside of the country, or you go see the mountain on it. That is the mountain that we skied when we went to Switzerland.
You're gonna be like, that's the mountain.
So that's why it's like Swiss chocolate and Swiss cheese is what they're known for. This is like their very commercial brand. It's sad that Toblerone is like, dude, it is the cleanest. It's like affordable Mally's.
It's like Walter White level chocolate.
Yeah, literally. And
Crystal blue persuasion.
well, now it's going to be the artificial. What did it do when it changed from, was it white again when they were catching the knockoffs?
Yeah.
It wasn't blue anymore.
It wasn't blue enough.
Yeah,
That's when they
so
brought in Jesse and were like, figure it out.
so
Oh
they
my
turned
God.
Toblerone to the white meth. So here's the takeaway after unpacking the lab-grown chocolate story and the Reese's lawsuit. This isn't just about candy. It's about what happens when corporations prioritize profit and efficiency over authenticity and human experience. Lab-grown chocolate might be cheaper, scalable, and easier to produce, but it strips away the connection to the land, the farmers, and the centuries of craft that gave chocolate its identity. The public backlash and now the Reese family lawsuit highlights something bigger. Trust is fragile and nostalgia matters. You can't simply replace a beloved product with a synthetic facsimile without consequences. Consumers are starting to demand accountability and quality and transparency, even in markets where cost cutting is king. And there's a philosophical layer too. When a lab can replicate a product perfectly enough to satisfy functional needs, but fails to satisfy emotional, sensory expectations, it forces us to ask, what does real even mean anymore? In the end, this story is a cautionary tale about the collision of technology, commerce, and culture. Synthetic chocolate may be inevitable, but so is the question of whether society is willing to accept a world where everything can be engineered, yet nothing truly feels authentic. The Reese lawsuit is just the opening bite. The debate over authenticity, value, and what we're willing to accept as real, as it only is getting started. Okay, last topic of the day here. Let's talk about a story that sounds absurd. And it is, but it's also a symptomatic element of a system that has swung away too far in favor of tenants at the expense of property owners and institutions. A hospital in Florida is now suing to evict a patient, not from their home, but from the hospital itself, after 5 months of refusing to leave following discharge. 5 months. That's right. This isn't about medical care. It's about someone taking advantage of a system that increasingly protects the unproductive at the expense of everyone else. Think about it. The housing system has been so tilted towards tenants and the courts so protective of the unhoused that even a hospital whose bed space is designed to save lives can be held hostage by a single individual. Meanwhile, landlords and property owners are left holding the bag. During the pandemic, eviction stays were in place nationwide, and for good reason, allegedly, yet states still collected real estate taxes from the property owners who were carrying the financial burden. The irony is almost comic if it weren't so costly. So we've arrived at a world where housing rights have expanded so aggressively that any space, even a hospital bed, can effectively become a tenant's stronghold. Productive members of society, whether landlords, healthcare providers, or taxpayers, are left out in the cold, forced to subsidize those who refuse to participate in the systems responsibly. This isn't just a hospital problem. It's a reflection of a broader policy failure. When laws favor one class of people so heavily that justice and accountability are nearly impossible, you get situations where basic operational norms, like discharging a patient, break down entirely. And for those paying the price, everyone else. The real estate owners, the healthcare system, the productive citizens trying to keep society functioning. They're the ones stuck footing the bill while the system continues to reward inertia, entitlement, and frankly, lawless occupation. The story isn't about a hospital failing. It's about a society that has made it legally impossible to balance rights with responsibility, and we're starting to see the consequences in real time. Beds blocked, landlords punished, and justice itself put on hold. Now, mind you, this is something that we could only see come out of Florida, but
yeah, they've been making a recurring appearance now on the show.
Boy, do they. Like Brad Richardson said, only in Florida.
Yeah.
You know, this is so
That's what OF should stand for now. Only Florida.
Yes.
Dolphin
OF.
USA.
Yeah.
But it is wild to consider the fact that you could have a patient overstay their discharge by 5 months before some hospital administrators like, so what? Let's get the law team in here. You got to go through an eviction proceeding.
There's literally a squad in a hospital.
You can't do trespassing, like
no, dude.
They're by law required if they take federal money.
Not even that. This is such a weird
loophole.
Balance. It's a loophole because you don't get squatter rights or tenant rights without some sort of lease, some sort of exchange where, you know, there's a lease I signed. Well, that's not in this case. So there must have been, he's making the claim, an argument where there's an exchange for rent. Well, because they charge you $100 a day to be in the hospital, that isn't rent. This isn't residency. This isn't rent for residence. This is payment for services. Part of the service being housing.
You can't claim residency at a restaurant. Just
Great
because
point.
you pay
Yeah,
for
I mean,
service
like,
doesn't mean you can stay there.
Yeah.
Right.
And-
So the fact Doug raises a great point. The fact that we even have to go to a courtroom to argue such a basic point. What are you say, Ricky?
What does he eat? How does he eat? How does he like?
Well, they're giving the hospital food.
I'm sure they have to.
Why?
Because he's paying.
'Cause he's
all
paying.
day.
Like, he's
Because
paying.
so I read this article. So they went there because under any hospital that takes Medicare federal money has to treat you until you're stable. And then if it's an outpatient procedure, you can be discharged. But they're required to keep you there if you're in critical condition. And then apparently this patient just refused to leave. That's what it is. Apparently they just refused to leave.
Right.
Bring
That's
back
the craziest
Looney
part.
Houses.
I'm not going nowhere.
Because if we had crazy
my
houses
Birkenstocks
still,
and my orange juice.
if we still had loony houses, could have just moved him right over there.
Man,
But they have
Reagan
to
strikes
want to
again.
leave.
for
They have
it.
to want to leave, and this patient doesn't want to leave.
Well, and again, Reagan,
be-
another
But
victory.
it
No,
would be just transferring him to another part of the hospital.
But they
Just
have to agree to
another
want to
building.
leave.
like again, you got to think about it, Ricky. How do you get him in that transportation? Like, whether it's a ambulance, some sort of taxi, even a police, like they would have to straight up drag him out, cuff him, whatever. And now that he's making a claim that he has a right to be there, that you can't really use that excessive. Dude, again, everything you're putting your finger on is liberal red tape for the sake of protecting the lazy and unproductive.
But what's funny is Florida is so for owners and landowners and businesses. Like they really are more than
You're right.
New York, for example. So the fact that this is happening there is kind of crazy.
Well,
it's the biggest loophole. You just happen to pick like Doug, you nailed it. If it was a restaurant, they would have got him out of there much quicker.
Right.
This being a hospital, I feel like it's the hardest loophole that
Just because the
I'm sure
hospital
this person
accepts
lucked
federal
into it.
money.
He just happened to be in a hospital.
And he wasn't claiming that, oh, I'm still ill. I don't feel good. Like, he wasn't claiming nothing. He's just like,
refused to leave.
He's
take
like
the
2
bed.
months away from
I don't
being
care
able to
who
legally
needs it.
stay. It's his house.
He's like, I don't care who needs it in this emergency. I'm just going to keep this bed. Keep this
Right. Well, and again, I'd be curious to see what brought him there. Doug, did you pick up on that from the article? Did it say?
I just know that it mentioned that the person was brought in for critical care, and that now that they were stable, they tried to get them out, and they have just refused to leave.
It was probably an overdose.
What it was exactly, because I don't think they can.
Right. No, you're right. Great point. HIPAA. But I'm sure it was an overdose. They pumped him full of Narcan, let him spend a night or two, and then he just never left because he's like, this is so much better than Under the Bridge. Force me to leave.
Hey,
And
at least he got sober.
Dude, little did you know, he's just been like,
Well, he's just taking
the
advantage-
morphine bags. He's just
He's taking advantage of the fact that any hospital that is not for profit or takes federal money at all, they have to stabilize you before getting rid. And this person just has refused to leave. They took advantage of the fact that they had to take this person in, regardless of them having insurance or not. And the only reason I think this hospital truly has a case to evict him is the fact that this person is taking up beds for critical people. Like this.
well, no, but
you know?
you're missing one major link, which is he was discharged. So he is no longer in a critical condition. They no
But he's
longer
still
need to hold
taking
him.
up a bed, though, and
That's what I
where
mean.
think
So
the
he's taking up
hospital
a
has
bed,
chance.
but they also they no longer have an obligation to hold him because he's stable and he's been discharged. But he's refusing to leave, as you've indicated, which means when he was first there, he had a right to be there. He's somehow twisting and convoluting tenants'
If you've
rights.
ever been to the doctor or if you've ever had something, you can argue stuff to a medical extent. Like my insurance didn't want to cover a certain amount of PT. My PT and doctor agreed that it should, and then insurance was forced to. Like there is that period where you can kind of maybe get more, and I think this dude has just tried to stretch that system to the extent.
No, it's just, he won't leave. He's just like, all right, for after the first month, 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 3 months in, they're like, all right,
He's wheeling.
He's still here.
He's wheeling himself on the wheelchair.
Well, and he's walking through the halls, and he's walking through the halls. Hey, Susan, how's it going? And Susan's like, how the hell is this guy still
And then
here?
he trips, and he's like, I can't go yet.
And you know, the nurses, the medical advisors are just like, you know, Mr. Johnson, you're gonna have to leave. I ain't going nowhere. And
yeah, I wonder how old this individual is. Did it say?
so now they're waiting for an eviction so they could have a physical bailiff removal.
The
That's what it.
sheriff remove him. Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
Just a
He been
wild
wearing
thing
the
that you would
same
only see in
clothes.
Florida.
You've been wearing the same clothes or just hospital garments this whole time.
Hospital
It's
gown.
crazy.
So true.
That's how I'd want to go out.
Yeah, exactly. Anybody wrapping thoughts?
I don't think this could happen anywhere else in the country. I really don't.
Well, it's
No,
happening
no.
worse in New York and
But
California.
I can see
and-
it happening here in Cleveland. We have
Yeah.
Metro Health. That is a fail-safe
But the
hospital.
thing is,
They have to accept anyone.
I hear you, but it hasn't. Like we haven't heard of it.
Well, no.
That we're aware of.
Wait. It's happening. It just hasn't gone to court. It's
Exactly.
the landlords are losing. They're losing in New
No, I'm
York. They're
talking about
losing.
specific, like at a hospital. I'm talking specifically a hospital. I understand actual landlord-tenant situations. Yes, I know that's happening. I'm talking about. I would have thought I would have heard of this happening more at hospitals, and this is the first time
Right.
I've heard of it specifically at a hospital.
I
And other
agree.
tenants, yeah, obviously.
No, I just mean like squatters. They're squatting in everything. Anything
Yeah.
that has a roof and a door to get in.
I just thought I'd hear more so squatters at hospitals. It makes more sense. It's like I can't believe this is the first time I'm hearing.
Yeah, it really does feel that way.
It's like squatters everywhere else. It's like, well, yeah, of course. It's
Well,
happening
because
everywhere.
again, you would have imagined most hospitals just don't even question it because, like Doug was indicating earlier, there's such a high demand on
Right.
hospital beds that it'd be like, well, there actually isn't a dialogue here. We're just going to throw you out on the street if you don't remove yourself.
That's what I mean. So that I guess it just fully fleshed out when I first mentioned it. It's like, no, I just the fact that a hospital. This is the only time I've really heard of this at a hospital. I'm like, it's kind of crazy. The fact that it's Florida.
Ricky, any thoughts here as we close it out?
Hey, find a loophole. He jumped through it and he's sticking with it.
Leaped through it. You're right.
We need Dr. Charles from Chicago Med to check this guy out.
Facts. Doug, how about you? You found the article. Any wrapping thoughts
No,
on?
just like people can argue to stay in the hospital and argue a need for a procedure, but to argue to the extent that you're there for 5 months, this is outside the norm. And like Will said, oh, we haven't heard this because most people don't stay 5 months past your outpatient time. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like
So
there are
true.
people who argue more time or more procedures, but this is to the extreme.
This individual is technically 2 months now away from on his tax return being able to say the hospital is his legal residence.
And it's probably
That's
a tax-free
insane.
residence
Like,
too, right?
He legally would have to do that.
That's absurd. You're right. And what are you in for? I overdosed back in
I have
November
no
24.
income. I have
Yeah,
no
25.
income either.
Yeah.
Except the welfare.
Yeah.
Except the taxpayer.
Yeah.
So what's the takeaway here? This isn't just a hospital dealing with one stubborn patient. It's a symptom of a system that rewards entitlement and punishes responsibility. When laws and policies are so heavily weighted towards tenants, the productive members of society, landlords, healthcare institutions, taxpayers are left carrying the costs while basic justice is deferred or denied. 5 months of occupying a hospital bed without consequences isn't a medical story. It's a social and legal story. It's about the unintended consequences of overprotecting one group at the expense of everyone else. When occupancy rules are ignored, eviction rights are constrained, and property rights are devalued, we're not just bending the rules, we're breaking the social contract. The question becomes, if hospitals can be held hostage like this, what happens next? Offices, classrooms, apartments, any space where productivity and responsibility meet resistance could be similarly disrupted. The system has to find balance, or we risk normalizing scenarios where the unproductive are legally empowered to occupy space indefinitely, while those who maintain society are left powerless. This isn't hypothetical. This is happening now. And the broader lesson is clear. Policies must protect rights without destroying accountability, or society pays the price. in beds, in homes, and in fairness itself. All right, let's close out today's episode with a doozy. We got to do the Wheel of Topics. We haven't done it in a while, and Doug's back. Doug, click over to Will's camera. We're down a camera because I forgot we'd have Will or Doug today. So we're good. Look at that. That fits pretty well. All right. As you know, to find yourself featured on the Wheel of Topics, you just got to head over to the Neuro Gym. Yeah. All right. What do we got for our topic today? Oh, I was hoping with Doug being back, we were going to get, the wiki hole, but that's okay.
So we have the Rizzler.
Instead, we get the Rizzler, which,
Dude, he was just on like WWE like a week ago, I guess.
Yeah, he's the man.
Yeah, he's still going. Boom.
Boom. I feel bad for him that wherever he goes, people are like, hey, it's the Boom Kid. And he's like, no, I'm the Rizzler. Big Justice is like, hey, you're the Rizzler. No, I'm the Boom Kid.
What a family.
What a life.
Yeah. How dare I get that wrong?
Yeah, you're right. All right, Wheel of Topics. Here's a topic that was brought to us by the Rizzler. I want to get your guys' thoughts on this little. I thought we'd change it up. Most of the time we either have our games on the board or submissions by you all, but we put one on there that is just a philosophical conversation. I wanted to get the room's thoughts. All right, what are your guys' answers to the Rizzler's pontification?
We breathe air and fish breathe water. Do you think that fish can see air? You know, because we don't breathe air, but we can see water. We breathe air so we can see water. They breathe water and they can't, so probably they can't see it. So you think they can see air?
Hand me the
Because
bong.
that's their air.
And we said we weren't going to do that.
Because that's
We said we
their
were going to do
air.
that in the presence of the Rizzler.
You know how we can
Dude,
see water?
good respect. Yeah.
I think the kid's onto something.
He's onto something.
I think he's onto something.
He ain't eating the vitamin THC yet, but boy, you got a mind for it, boy.
I think he's onto something. I 100% believe they're like, whatever that thing is up there, that seems tough to swim in. It's like,
I know. I kind of see where he's coming at. I bet for them it's like the moon or like space where it's like a vacuum.
well, I mean, he's so right. I mean, that's a kid that has literally spent the only eight summers of his existence, all 8 summers of his existence, under a pool, looking up, going like, man, this is what a fish looks like. This is what he sees. That air is, I could see it.
Oh wait, Marco, sorry. Goes back under.
Hey, you can do the cannonball the biggest. Rizzler, get in here, bro. No, seriously, it is funny if you think about it. If you go underwater, look up, that is exactly the impression they have. They jump like gravity's, the whole world's inverse to them. Yeah. Like gravity pulls them back into the water, right? Like if they were to jump in, it'd be like, and we're this big spinning ball with this. Like they got the same concept under there, taught in fish schools, literally a big full school of fish. That's what they're teaching them.
I saw that.
It's a big ball, and gravity's pulling. Same thing.
I'll answer the question. I don't think they can see the water. I think they got like something over their lens.
No, you're right. They cannot.
Not see. Yeah, you know what I mean.
I don't,
just like
because to them, it's like air. It's their environment. It's their atmosphere. Yeah. They don't experience it. We experience it because we're not entrenched in it.
And we got a consciousness.
It's the vacuum of space, and that's just land.
Yeah, 100%.
Because a lot of fish are like 5 seconds memory, like a goldfish, bro. If you go, woo, they come right back to you. You know what I mean? So it's like, come on out.
A bunch of woo-woos in the water.
Yeah, you know what? I got to say, I think the Rizzler's onto something. Yeah, but the kid's genius.
I mean, he's a true Socrates of this generation.
What do you think, Doug?
I think the kid is interesting. I don't care for the high pitch noise, but maybe, he's on his own. I don't know.
Okay.
That's not how he sounds, right?
Yeah, he was mad about it.
I didn't care for it.
All right, Ricky, do us a favor. Everybody, go join the Neuro Gym and add a topic to the Wheel of Topics so you can have yourself featured and your voice won't annoy Doug. You can keep us thinking and be a part of it. With that being said, Ricky, tell the folks where they can find you.
Oh, Just Another Day TV. We're dropping a vlog tomorrow, man. 48 hours in New York. And Thursday, we'll be with Alex on The Stoner and the Scholar, where you get your high takes, legal facts, and real world dilemmas. Check us out, bro.
Don't miss that banging show. We've been doing a great job. It's been a lot of fun, and we're catching some momentum. So be sure to join our fun Thursdays over at Just Another Day TV on Ricky's channel. That being said, guys, we appreciate you joining us. We made you laugh. We made you think. The best thing you could do to support this show is be sure to hit that like button, hit the subscription and notification bell, because we're here each week and you don't want to miss us. But the best thing you can do to support what we're doing here is drop a comment. We want to hear from you. The whole purpose of the live show is to add your input and add a little dynamic to our dialogue here. But then also be sure to share, because if you liked it, then someone else you know will too. And we're up against algorithms that just don't want to see us succeed. And that's how you can help us kind of break through and have a positive impact on the folks. I want to say shout out and thanks to the people like Brad Richardson and everybody else. Like I said, the whole purpose of the live show is to get you involved. So we appreciate everybody that hopped onto the comments section to help us bring you a good time tonight. Thanks, but with all those considerations, be sure to find everything from our Sunday show, the reaction show, where you get a little break from all the political social chaos and just have a laugh and a cup of coffee in the morning, from the podcast to our live show here. You can find it all in one central place, including the Neuro Gym, and that's at our website at www.rethinktankpodcast.com. But otherwise, guys, we appreciate you joining us. We're here each week, so we hope to see you next week.